Hi, this is Patty from Psychic Holistic Spotlight, and I am here today with Crissie Maher. And Crissie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. We couldn't stop talking before,
I know.
so I think we'll do just fine.
We're doing great.
We got talking about dogs and raising money and stuff like that for animals. We started talking about. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in holistics.
Well, my grandmother, I was raised in a big Italian Catholic family, and my grandmother was never the norm when it came to that. Like, she went to church, she did all the things she was supposed to do, but she had always had these little potions, always had these little ways to do things. You've heard of the malocchio, right? So she would be able to get rid of the malocchio for you. She could tell when you had it. We'd call her up, Nana, I have a bad headache, I can't get rid of it, can you check the malocchio? And she'd call, yep, you have the malocchio, you gotta do this, that, turn in circles, put underwear on your head, whatever she would tell us to do. So it's usually like crossing the, doing the things and saying prayers and stuff like that. So as I'm getting older, she taught me how to cook. And she would always say, you have to cook with your heart. You have to, don't worry about measure, put everything in, So, I was just in awe of her. She was just like, she's my Nana Strega, you know what I mean? So my mom doesn't believe in any of that, She does more now, because I'm close with her, and I have shown her a lot of things of like what can be done. But as I'm growing up, I was raised Catholic, like I said, and then my father, who my parents split when I was young, he got remarried and they became born again Christians. So between the two things that were going on, like the Catholicism and the Christianity, and the very different, it was almost like they didn't like each other. One was more evil than the other, and I'm like, this is just not, this isn't for me. So I kind of moved away as I was in my later, early to later teens. I moved away from religion and became more spiritual, in the sense that I was like, I don't have a denomination, I'm spiritual. That's how I used to tell people, what's your religion? I don't really have one. So I moved away from that, and I started to buy things that would interest me, as far as books and literature, things like that. And I was going through, and I'm like a late bloomer in this, because I always kind of just did my own thing, made my own potions and tinctures for myself, over the years of learning stuff between my grandmother and other things, books and stuff that I read. I was going through a very horrible divorce, and my business partner and best friend, Rhiannon Spaziano, we owned Phoenix Tattoo together. She, basically she had been, practicing for a very long time. And she said to me, you give me the vibe of someone, spiritual is great and all that. She said, but you feels to me like you have abilities to be able to do more stuff, because I can always tell who's on the phone before they call, and I can always, and I don't call myself a psychic medium. I'm not. I can't see, things. I can't hear things from the other worlds. But it's like I have that intuition, it's a strong sense of something coming or whatever. I know when someone's going to be not ringing on the doorbell, even though nobody rings your doorbell anymore. Everyone's texting you or whatever. But I'm like, I feel like the bell's going to ring soon. I don't vocalize it, but you just have the feeling, and within 10 to 15 minutes the bell rings, it's the mailman, but it's one of those things. So I was going through a bunch of stuff to get rid of a bunch of stuff, and I start piling up books that I'm going to keep, and I had 35 books, witchy books, whatever things, shambolic healing and witchcraft for the beginners, and all the things across the spectrum. And I just kind of had a little bit of an epiphany, it was almost like an emotional thing for me. I was like, I think I need to go down this path, So I called her, and I was like, and she's like, yes, you absolutely do need to go down the path. So I started to teach myself. I'm very solitary. I'm also very lazy when it comes to that kind of thing. I've taken classes, but I like to learn myself and at my own pace, kind of thing. So I did become a Reiki master, and I'm a Reiki teacher as well. And I love doing Reiki, and I love, but I feel like I was talking to someone earlier about that I want to move on from it, and I'm almost looking, it's almost like I am kind of fine-tuning my own, I don't do Reiki like I was taught. I do what I feel.
And that's what it's supposed to be.
Right. So I don't do all the stations and everything else. I kind of just, I kind of just, talk to whoever I'm going to do Reiki with, kind of get a feel of what is actually happening. happening. And most people will ask me if they're like, I'm really struggling, I'm so stressed out, like I'm having emotional pain, blah, blah, blah. And most people, think that way. And so I'll talk and find out what's going on. And then I get a sense of like what's actually happening and what chakras we need to focus on.
I spend a lot of time on their head. And then what happens is
because all the stuff happens
I spend
up
a lot of time because, especially New England, fear and flight is on 30% instead of 3%. Do you know what I mean? So I spend a lot of time on their head, and when I'm working on their head, grandma is my favorite title because I just love being a grandma.
Of course.
And so it's so much easier than being a mama. You get to send them back if you're tired.
Right.
And the grandmothers come through, and they'll say, work on a blockage on the third chakra, and sometimes they'll tell me what the cause is. So if the person is oblivious to why they've got a blockage, and then I'll do psychic surgery on them and stuff like that. And it's so fabulous because it has opened up more and more with it, and it's I'm laughing because it started happening to me, and now I'm finding my students having the same thing happening to them.
That's great. I do. It's and I don't hear things like that. I don't hear, but I just kind of like through talking to them and kind of scanning or like touching their body, I can tell, and I don't know how, but I can tell. It's like it's the solar plexus, it's this, it's that, or it's the third eye, it's something. You're blocked in this area, and so I'll start, and I do start with the head, and I actually kind of like laser Reiki down throughout the chakras just to kind of clear everything out for the make a path, and then I start to really work on what needs working on. And usually
you're extremely empathic. I could tell that right away.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes I'll pick up like the energy. Like if somebody comes in and to talk to me, you can be crying and everything else, but it's like you can feel like what. I can almost feel like what chakra is in pain, almost, to say.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So it's like, I find that is that's something that I love to do because I feel I really can help people with it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it does. It makes a huge difference.
The other passion of mine is herbalism and learning how to make. Like I said, I'm a kitchen witch. Like I love to put potions and tinctures together. Like I know, like making your own toothpaste, like the non-toxic stuff that's going to help whiten your teeth and help your gums and all that stuff. That's the stuff that I'm really like teaching myself how to do now, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, maybe I'll go public with it at some point. Maybe I'll bring it to the masses.
I had a girl that she used to teach regularly at my house before I moved in. She moved almost the Connecticut line, and her work and everything made it tough. So we're still friends, but it's hard for her to come down. But she did a class called Kitchen Witching that was so incredibly mind-blowing to me. Some of the stuff that we use, how healing and everything it is.
It really is. I mean, and that is so fascinating to me too. Like I would love to be able to, read tarot. I can't. I've tried. It's not something that comes natural to me.
You should try holding on to an object because you're so empathic. I had a girl that took my whole tarot class, and she's the only one that got like nothing from it. And then she came to a spirit circle that I was running, and a guy on a horse came through that was the king, and it come to find out her husband's father was the king of an island. She joked that it had like 28 people that lived on this island, you know what I mean? But a little more than that. But anyway, he said she needs to hold things. And another person in the circle says, I have a ring she could hold. And I took a minute to just get a sense whether this girl was looking for a free reading, but no, I could tell that she was caring. And the whole class, we did a reading, she'd say, how are you getting that? And she'd be all frustrated and everything. She handed her the ring, she held on to it, and all of a sudden she goes, ooh, you got a picture of your grandmother and grandfather on the wall. It's one of those old black and white pictures that they put the blush on, and then told her a whole story.
Wow.
And even she was afterwards like her mouth open.
Maybe I should try that, because I haven't done that.
Try that because psychometry, because you're so empathic and so feeling, I bet the psychometry would go. Try practicing that because it's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, and I do rituals for myself and my family and stuff like that. Like if someone's like, oh, I'm broke, blah, 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 I'll be like, let's do a new moon. Let's do a new moon together. Come over the house, we'll do a thing. And it's very simple stuff, and it's just like, you can do this on your own. It's all about intention. You don't need to be a witch to be able to put your path right. You know what I mean? Everyone has the power to do that. So we'll do that kind of thing. But I remember my husband's brother was, I don't know, and he was going through some stuff, you know what I mean? You know, not to get too personal, but he was going through some things. And he loves woodworking, and so he had a sweatshirt on, and he was in his garage, and he's working, he's sweating into it. You know, in a black sweatshirt, like the sweat salt will come through, and you gotta wash the shirt. Well, the sweat salt came through in the face of a demon on the front of his sweatshirt. And so he took a picture of it, he sent it to my husband. My husband shows it to me, and immediately all the hackles went up on me, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a protection ritual right now for that whole family, for this family, for your dad, for Morgan, like my stepdaughter. I said, something's not right there. And it took me like 2.5 hours. And I had my whole dining room table was like a whole altar. And my altar is like, I have it in a little box. When I need it, I take it out and then blah, blah. And I have, things all over my house that are like, whatever.
But I do have a beautiful altar too.
Right. But I don't have the space for an actual altar where I trust it can not be touched.
Well, I could do it once my kids got out of the
house.
Right.
It's not, I don't have the space where it's not going to be touched by somebody, so I don't want that to happen. So my altar stays in a box, and I have everything, blah, 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 I can get it done in 5 minutes. But I pulled everything out and doing all the things. I lit the candles. It was like 2.5 hours where I was like doing the intention. Now he had taken that sweatshirt and put it over the back of a chair. And I did my whole thing. The next day, he cannot find the sweatshirt anywhere. He asked his wife, "Is it in the? Did you put it in the wash?" She's like, "No, I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't do any washing yesterday." The sweatshirt disappeared. So I was like, "Oh my God!" So I was right in the sense that something was trying to attack him, like some kind of like.
Energy.
A malevolent force of some sort, and he still can't find the sweatshirt to this day. And I was like, I didn't think that I had that kind of thing going on. You know what I mean? But the intention was to protect him from whatever the hell was going on over there.
And sometimes it could be an earthbound spirit that is totally
I don't think it was a demon.
Stuck.
I think it was just like a mischievous, I won't say malevolent, mischievous thing.
But if you've tried,
because he was in a very vulnerable state at that time.
Because a lot of times people that are from the earth that we built the houses on, sometimes they tend to go where the workspaces are with the men, and sometimes they're frustrated because they've been trying to find the white light to go up for 350 years. They're a little frustrated, so they're trying to find someone to listen to them, and they're very frustrated. I find a lot of that.
And people, my husband calls me Dear Abby because I do have a lot of people that want to talk to me, and and I feel like I can help them and soothe them. I've had many people say to me, I've been going to therapy for 5 years, and then just one conversation with you, I feel better, and I kind of know what I need to do from here. And I'm not trained in any of that. I feel like I've been through a lot of lives. My soul has been through some lives, and I've learned a lot of things.
I think most of us are on the last life, so we put a lot of packages on our table.
At least the last few. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I've learned a lot in my journey, in my soul journey, that helps me help other people, which is what I love to do. Even with, like I said, like the herbal stuff, if somebody comes to me and says, oh, I've been diagnosed with, I'll be like, I start doing the research, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, okay, start doing juices, add this, add that, make sure there's turmeric in there, make sure you put the pepper, and make sure, you know what I mean, doing all the things, and they have to listen and do it, because I can't,
and I gotta tell you, I believed in it, but kind of, and I had a gentleman that's tied into the show, was for years and has been for years, and he turned around, and I was having troubles with fatty tissue in my liver, and I'm an 8 drink a year drinker, so obviously
it's not
just
from that, stuff, right?
And he says to me, dandelion root. So I got the capsules with the dandelion root, and I took them. And in 8 weeks, the doctor goes, what
dandelion,
the heck?
The whole flower, from the root to the leaves to the flower, is just an amazingly powerful
And it's so
plant.
funny, even as a kid, I got mad when the lawnmower people, they mowed the lawn and they cut them, because I liked them when you blew on them and made the wish. I like them when they're yellow. I like them when they're white. I like them
all the
and
ways,
I don't like
right.
them to go. I don't like them to go.
I usually harvest my dandelions in the front of the yard, because we have the dog in the back, so we don't need any of that. But my whole yard is full of dandelions, and in my mouth, you have so many weeds. I'm like, they're not weeds. They're natural flowers. They're fine, and they're actually very, very good for you. So I harvest them, and I usually take about 10 to 12 from the root up, and I dry them out, and I separate the the root from the flower from the thing, and I keep them dried. And if I need to make a tea or a tincture or anything like that, I use my own stuff.
So I laughed because my doctor is very medical, but she loves it when something holistic works.
Right.
She loves that hypnosis works. She loves that Reiki works. You know what I mean? So she gets excited about it.
Yeah, my doctor is very medical, and he and we have a lot of respect for each other, but we butt heads on a few things, because he'll be like, I want you to get a flu shot. I'm like, I'm not getting a flu shot. So I'll get the flu. I'm healthy, and I will survive. If you save the flu shots for the elderly and the people with
Absolutely.
compromised immunity. I don't need it. And so he's like, oh, you always drive me crazy. I'm like, hey, I look at it as I could lose 10 pounds in a week. You know what I'm saying? Joking with him.
Yep.
But he's like, you drive me crazy, because I'll be like, I want you to get on this pill. I'm not taking that pill. I'll find something else that works. And he's just like, he wants to kill me. But listen, I go to you, I can't do heart surgery. Then nobody can do heart surgery in what we're doing. Western medicine has its place. If a broken bone needs to be mended, yes, definitely take them there. Someone has a heart or attack of something, bullet wound, yes, take them to the emergency room. But if it's something like a fatty liver, taking a pill for that is not going to cure the fatty liver. It's going to reduce the symptoms enough so that you can continue living with a fatty liver. That's not
No, it flushed all the fatty out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the pills they have for you don't do that.
I also changed
you have to
habits.
change your diet too.
I changed some of my
diet. You got to do
too.
a lot of things. You know what I mean?
So I did do more than just it, but the initial change was from just the capsules.
Yeah.
And he gave me a specific brand to get. He does it all natural.
Yeah.
But that and reishi mushrooms that helped me with some other stuff that I had going on.
Yeah,
and
I've been doing mushroom, dried. I get it, it's an organic blend, but it's like reishi, turkey tail, all the things, shaga, I put it in my coffee every morning. And I used to have horrible bowel issues, I have to go to the bathroom 30 times a day. Sorry for bringing that up, but have to go to the bathroom all the time and just be very bloated and very uncomfortable all day, and just always having to be near a bathroom. And I started doing the mushrooms. I'm good. Doing my usual norms.
It is amazing.
I mean, that's why I love holistic healing, because it really works. You have to be diligent and you have to do the right thing, but it can. I mean, I don't want to say the C word, but I've seen where it'll reduce, tumors and things like that.
I got to tell you that I had 99% chance I had ovarian cancer with a tumor, and I used I didn't use stuff, but I used some of the healing practices that I know. And the tumor board for Women's and Infants Hospital, I was in their meeting for 10 months, and they were shaking their head.
Yeah.
It had a spike all of a sudden after 3-4 months. There was a spike in it, and then it disappeared. And
I see, and that's why I believe. I have a friend who went into the hospital with several blood clots in her lungs, and she's a friend now, and she's actually a Reiki master now because
nice.
So she's my husband's friend's wife, and I had not met her before. I'd met him. But, my husband's friend called me and he's like, oh, Marie's, in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and I just, in my mind, again, I don't know this woman, but I'm like, let me go. If she doesn't mind, could I come visit her and give her some Reiki? And she was in the hospital bed, she got stuff all over, so we can't do the usual Reiki. I just sat with her and put my hand on her arm or on her leg or whatever she let me touch her, and we talked for 2 hours the entire time I gave her Reiki. The next day, and again, I'm still shocked that these things happen.
Isn't it great that they still...
But the next day, her doctor said, you don't have any blood clots anymore. What the heck happened? And she said, I don't know. And he said, they're gone. You don't have blood clots anymore. And my intention was just get rid of the whole time. While we're talking, just chatting, in my mind and in my hands, I was like, no more blood clots, no more blood clots. Just as simple as that. And she came to a Reiki class and she said, that woman saved my life, because the doctors told me how grave my situation was. She came and sat with me for 2 hours, and I'm like, no, I didn't. You had, she's like, no, you saved my life. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad, and she's a good friend of mine now. And she was taught Reiki. As a matter of fact, the gentleman who taught me Reiki, or attuned me for Reiki, she went to one of his classes and she said, I'm here because of her, and I want to do this because she helped me so much that I want to be able to help my people and my friends. And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I had 4 cysts, and one of them was 9 centimeters. So this is before the tumor thing. And I said to my husband, I need to be alone in the room. And I spent 2 hours putting myself in a meditative state and sending Reiki. And I had to go the next day to see how deep they had to go and what they had to do. And when they did, they didn't find anything. Now, if a 9-centimeter one broke
That's a
open,
big one.
there should have been skin there.
Yeah, something.
So 1 year, almost on the 1 year anniversary, one of my daughters has 3, and one of them's 9 centimeters. And I told her, you know what you need to do? And she goes, I know, Ma. And she did it. And she was a Reiki master and a hypnotherapist and stuff like that. So she did her thing, and she went to see what they had to do. And the same thing, so the doctor said, I'm not supposed to leave this kind of a message, but I don't know what you people keep doing, but keep doing it.
Keep doing it, right? Because why not?
Very impressed by the whole thing, so very impressed.
Keep doing it.
So,
you know what I mean? So, and yeah, so that's the thing. That's what I'm more, you know, my passion is. I mean, I love all aspects of, you know, spirituality and even witchcraft, you know what I mean? That's like, you know, I have a lot of friends who just do all kinds of things. You know, it's lovely to meet Shari today and to learn what she does, because it's just, I love our community because we all have our own special, you know,
I was
niche.
very Wiccan pagan in a lot of past lives that I've been in. And this lifetime, I found that I thought I was judge and jury, which isn't right. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't know what to do with it. So I switched, and I know I've been a shaman in other lives, but I know the pagan was many, many, many lives. You know what I mean? So I switched and turned on the shamanic, because I have a harder time crossing over and thinking I should control it. Do you know what I mean? Few control issues, nothing serious.
Hey.
And
I'm an Italian Leo. I have control isures.
Well, and you know what I have too is I'm Aquarius rising, and a Gemini moon triple.
Okay.
Yeah. So the heck with the worlds, what they have. But it's one of those things where I just felt that I could stay on the white light part of it a lot better than the other way, because if somebody was hurting, I mean, I'm an accountant, and I had to stick with the accounting. I retired from that, but I was for years. But I went to go to law. But again, I knew I would lose my bar, because I would stand up in front of the court and say, bury the sucker if they're hurting kids, women, do you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I found that I was kept in a bubble by my parents, and then my first husband kept me in a bubble so I wouldn't know what he was up to. And now all of a sudden I'm cocktail waitressing because I could do it when my kids are asleep so they don't know I'm away. I'm a single mom, 1, 3, and 5, do you know what I mean? And so I started doing that, and that whole world was up there, and how some of the men were trying to take advantage of the women. I was doing stuff, and I was setting alarms off and horns off and doing stuff, and I said, I shouldn't be doing that. And then I did something on someone that I shouldn't have done, and I got the payback, but I didn't care, because I really didn't like what the woman was doing. But it was, she was taking some of us single mothers and laughing that she was making us work and we weren't making any money. So I told her, you're gonna get 2 flat tires on the way home, and kind of dooted it, and she ended up with 4 flat tires on the way home. A bucket of nails fell in a truck in front of her, and I never had to work at night. I didn't have to. None of the other girls did too. She was just like kind of mean, the mean girl, you know. But it was one of those things that all of a sudden I really felt like I am not supposed to be judge and jury, and it keeps compounding. Now, don't get me wrong, my own car. Now, you're talking back in the late 80s, my own car cost me $685 to fix.
Which is a lot back then.
Which is a lot back then, but I deserved it, because I did I had a little...
Well, you know, gave out a little bit of karma. I totally believe in karmic, you know, vibrations.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people, have the day you deserve, and, you know, and that's so, that way it keeps it off me.
Yep.
Right.
And my shaman lady, I loved her because she had she just passed in this gentleman that works at my shop, and we went to go to her celebration of life because she was fabulous. She had a shop in Maine. She moved to Newport so she could be close to her daughters, because they were going to school in New York. She could get to them in 3 hours versus 8 hours.
Right. And
because she had a shop, she did so much more than just the shamanism. So she introduced us to Reiki and hypnosis and 10,000 other healing modalities that I will treasure her
Yeah.
Completely. She even told me after 18 months I was going to outgrow her, and I kind of did. Do you know what I mean? But even the fact that she knew that, I thought was brilliant.
Right.
You know, so she also taught me, she opened up my mediumship quite a bit. She taught me how to send them up. She just did a lot for me.
That's
she did
great.
a lot, yeah.
That's really great.
And the tools that she put in my toolbox really have made me, you know, where I am
That's
today.
great, yeah.
But I still am very attracted to the ceremony and stuff. And when I was a single mom and I needed money, one time I needed $350 and I didn't know where I was getting it. So I was with the green candle and I'm going around the house. Now my husband and I weren't married then, and he's looking at me and he's going, "What are you doing?" And he's looking from window to window.
You're like, be quiet, I'm working here.
I'm working here, and I even included the mailbox in it and everything. And the next day, 2 days later, I got a thing. I got jury duty, but for Superior Court, and they were paying me $35 a day for 10 days, $350.
Nice. And so exactly what you needed, right?
Exactly
That's
what
amazing.
I needed.
Yeah.
And they reimbursed like parking and lunch, so it didn't cost you anything. And where the other ones, you get about $3.50 a day.
Right.
But anyway, I ended up, it was just exactly what I needed.
That's great.
So
I do that too. You know, I do the again the new moon. You know, bring the money in kind of thing if we need. You know, if we need to. But
that and the full moon, I like to burn papers with stuff written on it that I need to release.
You gotta
get
release
rid of.
on the full. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, and again, it's like that's why I call myself a lazy witch, because I don't do all the moon, you know, the lunar things, and I don't, you know, I kind of, when I need to do it, I do it, because I do work a muggle job where I don't do this for a living. This is something that is like on the side.
Well, I did. I was controller of heating and air conditioning company, a very large one.
Right. So the
for
the
quite
accounting,
a few years.
right?
In 2018, I officially left. 2019, January 1st of 2019.
Yeah.
But I had this place for almost 20 years before,
Right.
19 years before I did that. So I was bouncing the two,
Yeah.
and I was exhausted.
Oh yeah, you know, that's what I mean. It's like the job I'm a paralegal in Providence.
Nice.
So it is stressful, and I do bring it home to
I
a certain
almost
degree.
became, as I said, the paralegal.
You're right, the
I
lawyer
knew I would have
thing,
gone
yeah.
up to, I would have had
So
finished with lawyer, but I
the
didn't
greatest
behave.
thing about this is I'm not a lawyer. Which, you know, everyone's always like, oh, you should have been a lawyer, but I don't want to be a lawyer. I like what I do because I don't have to go to court, and you know, I still fight with people all the time. You know what I mean, in the sense that, like, you know, I fight for our clients, but you know, it's a stressful job. It's encompassing. Like, it takes a lot of your energy and your time. By the time I get home, I'm tired. You know what I mean?
But the only problem is that this stuff is what I loved.
Yes.
So they used to laugh because the other people that worked for me, when I had somebody that read and I had a shaman that worked for me, they would come like a half an hour before and they do rituals and they do this and that. I had to learn how to get in the space really quickly because I'm skidding in the parking lot 5 minutes before the client.
Right.
So I set up with the spirit guide the second step. They flip me from the left brain to the right brain. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
that's
on the way out,
awesome, yeah.
They clip all the cords of any attachments and flip
I gotta
me
learn
back.
how to do that because
Just
sometimes
ask. So many things I spent so much time worrying about and trying to figure out, and then Sylvia Brown says, just ask them to, you know, in her 4-pack of cigarette voice, you know, and it was amazing because I just asked them and I discovered they want you to help people.
They want
you to do it. So
I usually leave enough time between my day job and if I'm going to have a client in, so that I can go into my room, burn the incense, listen to the bells, listen to the music, and just kind of calm myself down. Meditate for at least 10 minutes, and then I'm fine. Then I'm in the mode, and I'm focused on who I'm talking to and who I'm with. But it's because it's draining on me. Because by the time that's done,
and your job is so
and you haven't
left-brained.
eaten yet, and you're still trying. You know what I mean? You know, besides the paralegal, like I said, I own a tattoo shop with my business partner, Rhiannon Spaziano, and she and I, you know, she does all the operational stuff, but I do the back office stuff. I make sure, you know, the doors stay open,
Your
the lights stay
tattoos are
on.
beautiful.
Thank you. And most of them are done by the people at the shop. We have a great staff there. Anyone looking for tattoos, please call me. You know, because you know, I'll direct you to the shop.
How can people before we end too? I want to know, how can people get a hold of you? We have to do Facebook and.
That's okay. I'm on Facebook and under my own name, Crissie Maher. My first name is spelled Crissie. I have to be different. And Maher is Maher. You can also reach me through Phoenix Tattoo. Like I said, Rhiannon does a lot of the operational stuff there, so I don't go there all day, every day. But I can be reached there.
So we still have time. Tell about the fundraiser you do.
So every year, Phoenix Tattoo, we do a Phoenix Magic Market and Psychic Fair. It's pretty much grown every year, but this year it's 46 vendors. We have 15 psychics coming in, psychic tarot readers, and we basically do a marketplace.
Tell her about the donations for the animal thing.
So
we're down
every
to just
year,
a little bit of time.
that's okay. Every year we do a donation to the Pawtucket Animal Shelter, and where we ask people to bring donations for the shelter, whether it's food, litter, blankets, toys, whatever the case may be for cats and dogs, even birds. If you bring them, we give you a ticket for